An economist assures the public that the country's ballooning debt is normal, especially under a crisis like this pandemic. Recall that the national government debt has climbed to a record high of 11.9 trillion pesos in September. This was an over 27% hike from the 9.3 trillion pesos recorded last year. It also surpasses the government's debt target for 2021 of 11.73 trillion pesos. But for RCBC Chief Economist Mike Ricafort, it's normal for the country's debt to increase during the health crisis as the government fills up its coffers for pandemic response. He says Filipinos should focus on assessing the country's debt to GDP ratio. That is the percentage of debt to the market value of a country's final goods and services. He says the current 60% level is still within international thresholds and is similar to other countries' debt to GDP ratios.
Globally, yung standard na mas acceptable, yung debt as a percent of GDP. Wala namang mali, nothing entirely wrong when computing per person. Pero kung titingnan mo yung mga literature worldwide, total debt as a percent of GDP para talaga malaman relative to the other countries, how is the Philippines faring? Diba? Is it faring better or is it faring worse? Para apples to apples lahat ng bansa.
But for think tank IBON Foundation, the country's debt climbed to an all-time high not because of its pandemic response, but for the government funding its ambitious infrastructure push, as well as its lockdowns, which the group believes were not well thought of. Executive Director Sunny Africa notes Filipinos will be the ones paying for the government's supposed recklessness in handling this pandemic.